Are you a business that is struggling with turnover? Well, in this video, I want to share with you 3 things that you can do to drastically start reducing your turnover within the next 30 days. So you want to reduce turnover in your business. Well, my name is Tim, the Scary Good Marketer, and I want to share with you 3 effective ways to really start reducing turnover in your business within the next 30 days. Now, there really isn't anything too magical about these 3 things. They're just 3 things that I've seen time and time again, and reasons why I've seen really high turnovers is neglect in these 3 areas. The first one is that you actually want to spend time really getting to know what motivates your employees. Obviously, right, coming to work and being paid is a good reason why they have a job, but it's not a good reason for them to stay in their job. I always feel that this is where a lot of people and a lot of businesses really get it wrong is they think that people are always working and standing behind maybe whatever the mission of the company is. And yes, a lot of people will, but the thing is that may not be enough reason for them to stay. And I really want you to figure out like what motivates them and what are things that will continue to motivate them coming into work day in and day out, right? Some people, it may be that, right, they want to be able to get a raise within the next year to 2 years to 3 years, however long it is, right? Some people may want to just actually feel like their ideas are being heard and have the ability to bring things to you to help improve workflow, improve the way that their job is done, more recognition in that sense. Some may want, a certain car, right? They may want to buy a certain car, right? There's so many different reasons people are working, right? It may be that they want to be able to spend more time with their family, right? I don't know what that will be because it's different for every single person. And what you want to do is find out what that is and work with them to set up a system or basically a game plan of how they can achieve that by working here, right? Let's say that somebody wants to be able to get a new car. Okay, well, obviously based on what the car is, if they're like, I want a Lamborghini, okay, it's gonna take a little bit more time. But if they want, I don't know, a Prius, let's say, I'm not a fan of Prius, but let's just say a Prius because it's the only thing that comes to mind. Let's say that they want to get a Prius. Okay, well, figure out what you feel is reasonable and what's reasonable for them, right? Maybe if they work for the next 2 years, right? If they are consistent, if they come to work every single day, they meet their deadlines, they do that consistently for 2 years, then maybe give them the incentive that I will help you buy that car. And now I know some business owners are probably like, oh God, like now you're wanting me to buy people cars and stuff. No, you don't have to do that. It's 100% up to you, but it's good to figure out like what are those motivators and find something realistic that you can do. If they want to be able to go on vacation, okay, well, tell them, hey, if you're consistent for the next X amount of time, I'll give you a month off. You gotta give people reason to want to work there, right? You gotta really get to know them, like I said. And if they know that these are the things that I gotta do to achieve that one thing that I want, that goal, they're gonna do it. They're gonna follow through. They're gonna want to do those things. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is really actually spend a day in their shoes. Now, whenever I used to work retail, this is one of the biggest things, one of the big reasons that I left retail is, so I used to help manage a store. I'm not going to say who it was, but I helped manage a store. And the one thing that I used to hate so much, they would dictate the way that we do everything in the store based on a fake store that they had in their corporate office that people didn't shop at. So everything that we did was based on how much time it took them to do it on the corporate level in a store that didn't actually have customers in it. So, right, we would have to go and we'd have to put out new merchandise, we'd have to set up new stuff, and they would time all of it and tell us, you have to do it in this allotted amount of time based on how fast we were able to do it in a store that nobody ever shops in and that is perfect all the time. And those expectations are so unrealistic. And I feel like a lot of times as a business owner, sometimes you put unrealistic expectations on things because maybe you don't actually know what it takes, the work, the effort, the time it actually takes to put into something, because maybe you don't know how to do it, maybe you haven't spent that much time doing it, or maybe you have a lot more experience doing it, so it's a lot easier for you to do it versus somebody that has never done it and is doing it their first time. Like I said, that was just one of many, many things that I used to hate about working there, is because corporate and even our regional always had a lot of unrealistic expectations. But the thing was, is they never really worked in the stores day in and day out. They didn't really see the things that we saw. And it was very frustrating to have them tell us that we needed to do certain things when realistically those things were unachievable because they were basically living in a fantasy world. So that's one of the big things that I always suggest, especially if it's something that you don't know, is actually go and spend a day in that person's shoes, ask them questions, actually have them be your boss and have them tell you what you need to do, see how they've been able to adapt to certain things, ask them like, is there anything that we can be doing to help streamline some of these processes, right? You've been doing it day in and day out. I can't begin to pretend that I know how to make this run more efficiently. So ask them for their advice on ideas that they have of what you can be doing or what the company can be doing to help facilitate these things and make them easier, right? And just doing that, you will gain so much more respect, so much more trust with your employees, because you actually value their opinions and you actually take the time to see the hard work that they do and not have those unrealistic expectations. So that's number two. And now number three is the, classic lead by example. Now, I want to take this a little bit further than just, oh, well, if you're a good leader, you need to, show up on time and you need to like all those things are important. But I want to give you an example that I had working in another, big corporate office. And it was one of the things that always was surprising to me. And the more that I've learned about psychology and the subconscious mind, certain things just become so prevalent to you. So our CEO we would always have meetings and certain things, right? Just like normal corporations, right? You have meetings, you have that kind of stuff. And our CEO, I remember on our first day, it was a group of us, and he was telling us, we value people, we want hard work, we want these things, and I don't want to be a company that you can never come and talk to me. So I have an open door policy and my door is always open. And the thing that used to make me laugh is, so, my office, my small little office was pretty close to where his was. I can see like his door and I can see, whatever. And it was always funny to me because every single day he would come in, wouldn't say anything to anybody, and walk straight into his office and close his door every single day. And I got thinking about it. I was like, this has a really big negative subconscious impact on literally all of us that we just had our orientation meeting. And he was talking about how he has this open door policy and that his door is always open, right? And it's just funny to me because seeing that every single day, and I even talked with some of the employees and, just asked them, like, I'm thinking about going and talking to, our boss, the CEO, how comfortable do you think, or would you be comfortable going and talking to him? And a lot of them said no. I asked them, okay, well, why not? He said that he has like, an open door policy and we can go and talk to him. And they said, well, I just don't want to like feel like I'm bugging him, or I don't want to, make him mad. I don't want, and the reason this is happening is because what he was saying is, yes, I have an open door policy. I'd love to talk to any of you anytime, just let me know. But by him walking in, not saying anything to anybody and closing the door, he was shutting himself off to all of us. And we felt that we couldn't trust him, right? Because he said one thing, but his actions were doing something else. And what's happening there is he was essentially cultivating these seeds of doubt in all of our mind, and these seeds of us not trusting him because, right, he affirmed us. He told us like, yes, this is the thing, and he pretty much every single day proved to us that that was a lie. And it was like, okay, well, what else is he lying about then? What else, right? And whether that's true or not, right? But it's just one of those things that I always tell people, like, your actions always speak louder than words, and it's so true. That's why, if you really look at it, communication is only, maybe 10 to 20%, maybe even a lot less. A lot of people say that our body language and the things that we do speak so much greater than any spoken word. So I said that's one of the big things that I want you to think about. Like, think about the things that you have said, the things that you tell your employees, but look at how your actions actually align with that, right? That's why, I've even talked with a few other companies and other corporations and people that have CEOs, and I've told them this story before. And one of the things that I've told them, and I'm like, this doesn't work for everybody, okay? But some of the things that I've told them is, I'm like, yeah, like if you truly want your employees to believe that you have an open door policy and you truly want to have an open door policy, I encourage you to go back to your office, call a meeting, and tell everybody, hey, I know that I have said that I have an open door policy, but I know that sometimes what I do does not seem like I do. So, what I actually want to do is we're actually going to remove the actual physical door to my office. That way, because I want you guys to actually see that I do truly have an open door policy, that you can truly come to me with anything, and that my door is always open because there is no door. There is no barrier for you to come and talk to me. And the few companies and the few CEOs that have done this have seen dramatic improvements in just productivity in their workplace. And a lot of times they feel like their team is more cohesive. They feel like he feels that a lot of more people on his team can trust him as a leader. And when he tells them things and he asks things of them, they're more willing to do it. And like I said, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but that's why the subconscious mind is so powerful. And I just want you guys to really realize this. And I know that this video has gone on a little bit longer, but I just really want to explain these things, talk about these things, because like I said, yeah, there's some, people talk about different things. These are things that I've seen firsthand. These are things that I have seen that we have implemented, things that we've done, and things that we've helped other companies and other businesses. Thanks for watching this video. Take these 3 things and figure out how you can start implementing them. And I would actually also like to hear other things that you guys are implementing in, or even just let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments. Like I said, we love hearing new things, different ideas, right? Because we're all in this together. We're all trying to figure out how we can run our businesses more effectively. And I feel like the best way to do that is to learn from each other's experiences, right? Because one of the quotes that I really like from Warren Buffett is, learn from your mistakes, but not all your mistakes have to be yours. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks again for watching this video. If you haven't already started following us, make sure that you are following us on all the platforms. And thanks for watching this video.